blinds tell us they've turned the building into a weapons depot.
Time for housekeeping to clean this place up.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 toughest superhero video games.
Look, Ma, I'm gonna be DLC.
Number 10, The Wonderful 101.
Team, unite up!
The Wonderful 101 is in a weird spot because it isn't necessarily difficult in terms of its gameplay. The game does a pretty decent job at maintaining its difficulty level, even if it is kind of the oddball in developer Platinum Games' catalog. No, the biggest hurdle you'll have to face is the control. The Wonderful 101 demands a full understanding of the game's mechanics. It's a game where everything will either just click with you or not. And if it doesn't, well, you might find yourself struggling to understand what exactly you need to do. Number 9, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. You could just set the game to the easiest difficulty, but in doing so, you kinda miss out on the full Spider-Man 2 experience. We won't lie though, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is one of the toughest games Insomniac has ever made. While upgrading Peter and Miles will make you more formidable in battle, it isn't going to solely carry you. Powers and abilities are now tied to cooldowns rather than ammunition, forcing you to use them a bit more strategically. And the bosses, they hit hard, really hard. Number 8, Deadpool.
Ooh, Spider-Man. But does Spider-Man have a sweet-ass supercharged healing factor? No. But me? Some jackass gets lucky and tags me with a stray bullet? Whatever.
Much like Spider-Man 2, you can play through Deadpool under the easy or normal difficulty with very few problems. But when cranked to ultra violent, the hardest difficulty, you have to start playing it differently. Not only do enemies hit harder, but some of them can end you with a single attack. To make things worse, your dodging is way more limited in the number of times you can use it. Many who played on ultra violent have walked away frustrated. Those who stuck with it, still frustrated.
That's for never washing the dishes. That's for last year's white elephant gift. Who wants a white elephant? And finally, that's because the whole setup just added 5 minutes of bonus play to the most awesome game ever devised by mutant or man.
Number 7, Injustice 2.
How about slaps and tickles at 10 paces?
Not the answer I was expecting.
If you played Mortal Kombat 10 and found it to be difficult, well, you might struggle the same way here. Injustice 2 wound up filtering out a lot of players, for better or worse. First off, the gameplay is just as fast as MKX, meaning much of your skill depends on incredibly fast inputs. Not only that, but some characters have moves that require weird inputs in order to execute them. It can all be very overwhelming, even for your average fighting game fan. It doesn't help that some of the balance feels a bit whack. Number 6, Infamous. Infamous can be a bit of a pain to deal with at times. For starters, the traversal here isn't as refined as it is in later games in the franchise. Cole will sometimes grab onto things or fail to recognize ledges he can grab onto. Combat, on the other hand, can sometimes feel cheap in how certain enemies become bolt sponges, particularly the Dustmen and their significantly less armored first sons. We don't say this to make puns out of the developer, but be prepared to get sucker punched on several occasions. Number 5, Batman Arkham Knight.
Enemy spotted! Drone's been hit!
Arkham Asylum can be spent in detective mode for most of the game, and Arkham City is really only hard when you go for the new game plus playthrough. Arkham Knight though? Easily the hardest of the Arkham games. This installment gave enemies even more weapons to use against the Dark Knight, forcing players to counter through other means and play more carefully during stealth missions. And God help those who may not be great at driving games during Batmobile sections. The challenge maps were equally brutal when going for all of the medals. Number 4, Marvel's Midnight Suns. If you haven't grabbed Marvel's Midnight Suns, you absolutely need to give this a shot. Here, the difficulty is what makes the gameplay truly shine. On the surface, the game might seem as oppressive as XCOM, giving the limited actions you can do. However, once you find ways to KO enemies, save on your card plays, and maximize your damage output, Midnight Suns become incredibly satisfying to play. Just make sure you aren't playing cards recklessly the second you think, oh, this one card can do a lot of damage now. Think more resourcefully.
Give the mother my regard.
Number 3, Venom, Spiderman, Separation Anxiety. Now, most of the entries we've gone over have been hard because you need a firm understanding of their mechanics. For Venom, Spiderman, Separation Anxiety, there isn't anything in the world to prepare you for this. This game takes the difficulty from its predecessor, Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage, and breaks it. The entire game is loaded with nonsensical hitboxes and pot shots against the player. Really, Venom shouldn't be dying so easily and taking cheap shots this often. Spidey? Sure, maybe, but not Venom. Number 2, Beautiful Joe. Beautiful Joe is a game that will either make or break you. You can't really play this the same way you would with classic arcade beat-em-ups. You need to find a balance between darting around the stage and pummeling the crap out of your enemies. Bosses will test your patience, and it is important that you experiment to figure out how to counter enemies. So long as you jump in knowing this isn't another run-of-the-mill brawler, you might love Beautiful Joe, no matter how many times you die.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Silver Surfer. To this day, Silver Surfer on the Nintendo is the cruelest superhero game you could ever play. How so? Well, the game forgets that you are, you know, a superhero. Just about every little thing in the game can kill you instantly, from a single hit from an enemy to accidentally running into something that looks like it was part of the background. It is all absolutely BS, and no matter what comes out in the coming weeks, months, years, or decade, Silver Surfer will always be the hardest superhero game in the most negative way possible. Which superhero game did you find the most difficult to play? Did it make our list? Let us know down in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to WatchMojo for more gaming videos every day.
This is
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.